Yo, what's up? Good morning, everybody. This is MrKagiwada with another session of the Battle History podcast. We got JonyFraze in the chat. Hopefully, we got more people coming in. It is a Saturday. I know it's like 1 p.m. on the east and 10 a.m. on the west. So for all my West Coasters, thank you for being up early. For all my Texans, hopefully y'all are staying warm and everything's going well. This is a man who needs no introduction. He is a small business owner. He is the builder of the BMB fight stick and the Espada fight stick, as well as a plethora of other stuff on, I believe it's jxkdesigns.com. That's his web store. So, without any further ado, let's just get right into it. We got the one and only Mr. JonyFraze. Let me just, dang it. I always mistime that. Hey, what's going on, Kuya? How you doing?
Well, what's up, Mike? How you doing, brother?
I'm chilling, man. What's up, everybody? It's an honor to have you here, because it's a fellow Pinoy boy, just like myself. Or I'm half, but
I'm
it's all
actually
good.
half too.
Oh.
I'm a halfie too.
Oh, you're a halfie too? What's the other half?
Yeah. My mom is Chinese, but she grew up in the Philippines. So
Okay.
Culturally, she's Filipino. Well, like Chinese Filipino.
Mm-hmm.
But, like my grandparents are from China.
Oh, that's a trip.
On that side. And then my dad is like original man from he's like dark skinned, like Aboriginal Filipino. Dude.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's weird. It's like I'm a weird mix.
Yeah, my pops is from the Philippines, Spanish blood. He's like 5'11". I wish I would have gotten that extra 2 inches for me, but I'm like 5'8". But yeah. He's Spanish Filipino. My mom's from Japan, but my dad, his formative years were in Japan. So like from 17 to about 24, or wait, just 20. She was like 30 when like 28 or 26 was in Japan. Cool. So like the turn into a man years were all in Japan. So he knows how to flip. It's like 3 switches. It's like a 3-way light switch. It's like American to like Japanese to Filipino. Just one switch.
That's super cool.
Yeah. Trilingual.
Yeah.
I mean,
my mom's like that too. She can speak Tagalog, the dialect of Chinese that that her grandparents are from, and then English, like perfect. Nice. And then when she's talking to family, it's like there's a mishmash of 3 languages. It's the nuttiest thing. I'm like, what, dude? No one can understand. Like even Filipinos can understand them. It's just like English, Chinese, Filipino. It's weird.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, shout out to mom.
Yeah, shout out to my mom and dad. They're like, yeah, my mom was like, oh, in Jeff, she's like, oh, talk show yatten no ka? Like, oh, you're doing a talk show. Like, she's like, man, I need to get on YouTube.
That's funny.
Yeah, but anyways, without further ado, I guess let's just get right into it. So I know you know introduction, but if I may start with your name and age and what you're doing, current occupation. I mean, everyone knows, but let's just go with it.
So my name is not Joe. People call me Jony because I don't know how it started. People started calling me JonyFraze, but it's John. Mm-hmm. So my name is John, so it's JonyFraze. My last name is Bonilla or Bonilla, depending on how if you're who you are and how you say it.
Mm-hmm.
Filipinos say Bonilla, Americans say Bonilla, and then Hispanics. There's a lot of Hispanics in my area. They just call me, they say Bonilla. So it's like, yeah. So again, like my dad's Spanish last name, the whole Filipino thing.
Yep.
So I'm a OG. I am. A lot of people think I'm like 22. I'm actually 40 years old.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I'm 40. I just turned 40 this past December. So I'm a OOG. Not a lot of people know that. Like literally, people come in my chat like, "Oh, what are you like 22?" I'm like, "Nah, chill."
Mm-hmm.
And like sometimes I lose people with my references
mm-hmm.
when I'm on stream. Like I stream, so when I stream, like I'll say like some weird like 90s kid reference, and people like they're like, "What?"
Yeah, I feel you. Definitely.
So, yeah, I'm a
Kuya
OG
in the situation. I'm 32, so.
Okay.
Yeah, but hey, we look 16.
Yeah. Asian no raisin, right?
Yeah,
Asian
cheers
no
to that.
Cheers. So interesting. I'm in a transition in life. So I did the whole corporate grind. In my years, I worked for Apple. The Apple computer.
Yeah.
iPhones and things. For 15 years, and I did that whole grind and rose the ranks and everything. I ended up being one of like the store leaders in my local area. I ran an Apple store, one of the biggest ones in New Jersey, called Garden State Plaza. It was good. I joined Apple like before iPhone, right? Before when Macs and iPods were the thing.
When it was the
And
eMac, not even it
yeah,
was an
dude,
E.
I used to be one of the geniuses, and I fixed Emacs. I fixed like everything. I learned how to fix everything. That's where I kind of it kind of built up my motor skills as far as like repairing things, and you know that kind of led to the fight stick business like down the line. But yeah, I did that for a while. I started off as one of the technicians and became one of the managers of that particular store. I moved around to another location, but yeah, I ended my career as like one of the leaders in the area. But what's really cool about that was that if in that role, you had to switch different areas of responsibility. So, I became like operations manager and then like the leader of the technicians. So like running multiple businesses. So operations, sales, HR, hiring. So that job really got me like so much experience, even though I had the same title for like 10 years plus, because we had to rotate areas of responsibility. I learned so many skills, so I graduated from being a technician to like a manager, a leader, then operations, sales, like, support, like all this stuff. And it just gave me this wealth of knowledge of like, just experience. So, unfortunately what happened for me was like, I don't know, like something was lost. Like Apple wasn't, when I joined Apple, it was for a certain reason. Like, like I really felt like, people say this crap. I really felt like, hey, we could like change the world type stuff.
Yeah.
And we did, like iPhone and Mac. And I was really inspired at the time because, my earlier years, I used to do a lot of music on the side. That was like my permanent side gig, making beats. I'm a DJ, I scratch and all that. So I got into Apple from doing design work. Out of college, I had a job just doing design work. And like, I was like, wow, I want to join Apple because like everything I do is on a Mac, whether it's music or art. Yeah, and then so, then something got lost in the last couple of years for me. I'm not dogging the company or anything, but the reason why I joined isn't why the reason I was there anymore. Because it just kind of changed. Like iPhone blew up, and now Apple's like a household name. Like I joined when like PCs were like better. Well, people would say like, why would you buy a Mac, dude? It's like trash. Like that's when I joined the company.
I remember those days.
Yeah, like I went up and tried to build that. I was part of that group that helped build Apple to that thing, and then that was what was exciting for me. And then that got lost because we became like a household name. And then so plus I worked there for 15 years. So 15 years at the same place, that gets a little bit of of a grind.
Yeah.
And plus I have a family. I have 2 kids. I was working like 60 hours a week, and like I was never home. When I was home, I was like completely useless. I was just a couch potato. Like I just wanted to like just chill. And then so last July actually, basically in the middle of like COVID hell, I was like, you know what, like I gotta do me. Like I'm midway through my life, I think, right? Right. And I just got to do me, and I got to get back to what I love, And I see my boy Roberto Flay in the chat. Like me and him go way back, Like he's known me since like our DJ days, and I just wanted to get back to doing creative things, So that's where I said, let me do this, and then I could spend time with my family, and I rebooted, like restarted, And I'm like, I'm gonna start my own business, and well, I already had the business kind of going, like, but I'm gonna go like basically just put all the marbles in in that bag, and let's see what happens. So here I am right now. So we're in the beginning of like a new journey.
Yeah. So the breaking point was not being able to spend the time with the kids, and missing some of that stuff. And I don't have kids of my own yet. That's something that the missus and I are looking at and planning and stuff like that. So I mean that's great. That's an awesome story, especially in the middle of a really crazy worldwide thing going on. That's sick though. And real talk though, I've been, my wife is like, do you need another fight stick? I'm like, dude, I need all of them. I need all of the fight sticks. Honey, all of the sticks. For all of you in the chat who love Joe Coy, it's about to go down pretty hard in the next couple of ways. But all in all, like, the all white is so clean. I love that all white aesthetic. There's another fight stick maker that starts with a Q. I ain't gonna say it out loud. busted out that like pearl design. I'm like, oh man, but then I saw yours, I was like, oh, that's even cleaner. That's like a pair of Air Force Ones right there, all white.
Yeah. So we're talking about the B&B.
Yeah, the
so it's like,
B&B, yeah, and I like how it's all
that's
like
actually my
thin.
favorite arcade stick. It's my favorite arcade. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I built it for me,
Mm-hmm.
and then maybe someone else would like it. That's because I was tinkering with like laser cutting,
Mm-hmm.
and but the first one I was like, I just built it for me based on my taste, and then kind of became a thing.
Yeah, and that's
And that
awesome.
one.
That's kind of the American dream right there. You just, you think of something, and if people
Yeah.
want to get it, they'll get it. And what I love is like I'll be honest with you, like I'm a baby in this FGC and this whole like peripherals manufacturing thing. I work for Hori. I've only been working there for about like 3 years, like a little bit over 3 years, and just like learning more and seeing more, and then seeing like the junk food customs and like the paradise, the little
Yep.
the death box I call it because I would die.
Express.
Mm-hmm. And then seeing yours, like of all of them, and this is like not me like jerking your chain or anything, but like of them all, that BMB is literally the most simple and like cleanest design. Like obviously there's going to be the first part, like the third party big manufacturers that make it for like the masses, but just it's so clean and it's like Utada Hikaru, simple and clean.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's basically my aesthetic for a lot of things. Working for Apple was actually a big inspiration for that.
Mm-hmm.
Just seeing the design process. Like, yeah, there's so much crap going on under the hood, but when you look at it, it's supposed to be like easy.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's people who make like the same type of acrylic arcade stick enclosures, but you'll notice like there's so much hardware, and like you kind of have to know what you're doing to assemble it. So I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to make something where it's like anyone can do it,
Yeah.
and that's why I think it's kind of successful. Like, I think we sell average of like 40 to 50 a month.
That's awesome.
Cases a month. That's a lot.
That's
like
a lot.
I didn't think. And I was like, okay, maybe like people who are into the hobby would get it, but it's been consistent for like
Mm-hmm.
a year, like 40 to 50, and then holiday it gets crazy,
Mm-hmm.
and that's telling me something. It's like, wow, like so the guy who's building it, is like, hey buddy, like I built the arcade stick. It was actually pretty easy.
Mm-hmm.
You should do it too. And then that guy's getting inspired, and then down the line. So it's interesting because I didn't think there was that many people in the hobby to like equate to, all these people building, their own sticks. And that's what I set out to do. Just build. B&B is the acronym basically is bread and butter.
Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the core idea. It's like make it easy, like assembling a sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone can make a bread and butter sandwich.
Yeah.
Right. And then it has ties to the fighting game community, like learn your bread and butter combos.
Yep.
So that's why I kind of came up with that name, and it literally assembles like a sandwich. It's like, so the whole aesthetic is just simplicity, and there's like not much hardware. Like, oh yeah, like Phobot's in the chat right now. He's saying that like, it's easy. Like he loves it. He's built a couple of them already. So yeah, man.
That's sick. Well, this is called Battle History, so we're going to do a little bit of a deep dive on your history of, fighting games playing, and you are,
Sure.
I would say, for anyone who's like sub 30, 40 is like ancient, right? Like
Yeah, for
20,
sure. I'm
20
an
something,
old part.
I don't understand, but, what was like the start of your fighting game? What was your first love fighting game? I'd imagine it's Street Fighter 2, but that's...
Yeah, absolutely. So I lived in I grew up and lived in like Manhattan, New York, and then shortly after we moved to Jersey City, New Jersey. It was a little cheaper, to live across the river. My dad commuted to work, and if you guys ever been to Jersey City, it's kind of like nowadays it's kind of like Brooklyn. It's like you could take a train right over to New York City. And it's an urban neighborhood. It's not a nice place. Now it's kind of getting on the up and up depending where you live. But back in like the 80s, and early 90s, like it wasn't a good place. It was like gang ridden and crazy. So there was like bodegas everywhere. A lot of Puerto Rican, a lot of Cuban, people around my area. So there's always a bodega. So interestingly enough, the public school I went to, on both corners, there was like an Indian gentleman who had like a deli, a deli / bodega, and then there was like another bodega on the other corner, and both had Street Fighter 2. World Warrior. And I forgot, I can't even remember who told me to, like, you should go check this out, or I just walked in and, like, what the hell is that? But it was just like, I don't know, man. I think it was like a sign from like God, I guess, or like something happened where I was just like, yo, that game is crazy. And then, I put my first quarter in and that was it. I was hooked. And, like my friends, like I had like my boy Mike and my boy TJ and like a couple of like friends from that era. We just started playing like every day after school. And I learned, I think my first character was Blanca.
Nice.
Yeah, and then, based on that, I would just start picking other characters. So then I basically learned how to play the whole cast within like 1 year. So I mained Blanca, but then like by the end of like World Warrior, like Champion Edition, started coming out. And then I was picking Guile, and I could do, like, I learned how to Shoryuken, and like, and this is all in the arcade with like shitty controllers. Sometimes the button wouldn't work because it's in the middle of the hood.
Yeah.
And like, the vendor, I mean the bodega owner doesn't know how to fix anything. So it's like I learned really scrappy, and then I learned in a neighborhood where like that whole thing, I'm sure in Cali too, same situation where it's like if something thought was cheap, like you might have to get into a fight. Yeah, so
yeah,
like
I remember that
throws were cheap, or like I learned how to play in that environment. And yeah, so that was my beginnings. And ever since then, I moved from that area. I moved. Every time there was an arcade, I would always play Street Fighter. One of the biggest arcades in our area back in the day used to be called Sports World. It was like a really highly maintained arcade, like the perfect big blue Champion Edition cabs were there, perfect buttons everywhere, but it was like it was a little bit farther from where I'm from. Coincidentally, I live like 5 minutes away from that old location. It's not even close to there anymore. It's like a cigar shop. But that place was like the breeding ground in northern Jersey for all of, like the best players. And there was a place where Justin Wong used to play too, called Fun and Games, in Willowbrook Mall in New Jersey. So it's like, and even the New York players would come because they could just take a bus, and it was a nice arcade. So I'd play there. And then I had a local arcade at another city I was living in that was called Big Mouth Arcade. And that was the shit. I actually learned the most there because in between school, like grammar school, I would be able to walk to this arcade. It was a pizzeria. It was an arcade, right? And it for $1. No, I'm sorry. Roberto Flake can answer me. We go way back. But I think for $1 you can get a slice of pizza, a drink, and 4 tokens.
Damn.
Yeah, so you can literally like eat your lunch, have a drink, and then play 4 games. And then by that time, you should have been out of time anyway. And then you could go and like go back to school. But I played so much, and I would go right after school to do that too. So Street Fighter 2, Mortal Kombat 2, I played a lot. That's about it, back in those days.
Yeah, so it's safe to say that most of your fighting game like knowledge from the up and up wasn't on the console like a Super Nintendo or whatever else. It was like primarily on the arcade.
I would say like I had, of course I had console. Like I begged my dad summer of 92, I think, or 90, was it 92? 92 or 93, whatever year it came out on SNES. I like begged my dad to take me to the mall and like, can you please buy me this game? And but I never got used to pad, even though that's all we had. Yeah. I never got used to playing pad, and that was my reason to always go back to the arcade. Yeah. So I would go like buy, I would go train at home, like learn something, and be like, oh, I could probably do that easier in the arcade, and then I'd go to the arcade because all my friends were there, and then we just literally mash out in the arcade. So I would say, yeah, arcade is definitely like my home, like breeding ground for training. But I only treated like console as like, okay, I have it at home too. Like I could play on it while I'm at home, and I just played the arcade.
Yeah. That's kind of the nice thing about growing up on the East Coast too, which is very different from here. It's like the public transportation is actually good, like relatively on time on the East Coast, kind of like Japan, where it's like maybe it's like 5 minutes late, but not like 15 or something crazy like here in California. Like for me, I remember it was like, okay, I did maybe like 60% on the SNES, and the other 40% is like on the weekends if my mom would take me to the mall after Japanese school. We had a place called Aladdin's Arcade. It was like our that was like the big arcade. It was like a chain arcade. That's where I played a lot of the Street Fighter 2 and stuff like that. So you main Chun-Li now. What brought you to her? Because you said you played the whole cast, but I mean, what?
Yeah.
Everyone's got a story, so.
I mean, wait, so in 5, like why I made Chun-Li? All right. Well, if you guys, it's the guys that actually play with me, like my close friends, they all kind of know me as like I could play most of the cast of whatever game that we're playing, you know. So that's kind of like my deal, you know. Like I just love like when a new character comes out, I just learn it. Like I guess if we're talking Street Fighter 5 terms, I like try to get like a gold level knowledge of every character. So the reason why I played Chun was because of Street Fighter 4 actually.
Okay.
So in Street Fighter 4, if you guys know the differences between the game, it's like you're a little bit more free. You can kind of like, you know, create your own paths. You can do your own kind of, you know, even like you could pick a character, might not do the same combo, you know, as somebody, even though the other one's optimal. There's just like more freedom. And when I was picking a character in 5, like, and I still kind of feel this way, like I felt like the game was on rails. You know, it's like a lot of things like medium punch, confirm, you know, it's like, and I started like, I think my first character when I picked the beta in Street Fighter 5 was like Cammy, because I was playing a lot of Cammy in 4 towards the end. And I like that freedom of like being able to create, you know, like I'm an artist, man. It's like I don't want to be on a rail. Like I want to be able to like move and do something. So for Chun was like the only character that I felt like, oh, okay, there's no like distinct path of like a combo. Like I could kind of move around, and she felt fast, and I liked that, you know. And interestingly enough, I played a character in 4. My mains were Dalsim and Balrog. So yeah, those are my mains. And then Street Fighter 3, my main is Makoto. So, and everyone's like, well, dude, how the hell did you pick all these different characters? I'm like, I don't know. I just like, I gravitate towards the character that, you know, that I feel at the moment. So like picking Chun at the time was like, oh, I felt free. In season 1, she was like the most free to me. Like, let alone people then like dog me because she became like super top tier in season 1. But then shit for like however many seasons until she got good again, which is like this. That's basically it. I just like the movement, you know, and it was like her combos are kind of hard. There's a lot of you know, like strange cancels to learn with Chun-Li. Like some of the newer things you could do with Chun is like, you know, crouching jab, standing medium punch, crouching medium kick into fireball, and you have to charge by pressing up, back, and canceling the jump frame. It's like you can't, like, people don't understand that. They're like, oh, Chun-Li is easy. Like, no, she's actually really hard to play in 5. So I kind of like the execution challenge. Like, a lot of people know me as having pretty good execution too. So
yeah, no, Chun's tough. Like, I only know how to play Street Fighter 2 Chun in Street Fighter 5, if that makes any sense.
I remember watching you, and I was like, yo, what, you're mashing legs.
Yeah. Like, I hit the quarter circle, but I still mash because it's just like it's a force of habit, you know? And the only like cool Chun combo I know how to do is like, medium. I only know because of the visual, you know, medium punch, heavy into the Rankyu, the V skill.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Delayed heavy punch, 1, 2, 3 EX legs. If I get hit that, then I'm like, I'm done for the day.
Yeah, the stomp combo.
Yeah,
stomp combo.
That's like me hitting a DDT when I play Tekken 7 on anyone with King. Like, even if I lost, I won because I DDT'd your ass. You know, it's like one of those things. But apart from, you mentioned Mortal Kombat too. I mean, apart from Street Fighter, what were some of the other franchises that you grew up playing?
Fighting games? Mainly MK. Like, I think the best I ever was at playing a Mortal Kombat game was Mortal Kombat 2.
Okay.
Yeah, I could play most of the cast. I think if I were to say who I mained, is probably Melina.
Okay.
You know, just because of the mix-ups and everything like that, I really like Melina. Other than that, I mean, I've dabbled in Marvel. Like, I play a little bit of Marvel 3. You know, I have, like, basically all the games. You know, like, I kind of collect fighting games, even though I didn't end up like playing it a lot. So I kind of have a base knowledge of most of the games. But, you know, if you were to ask me which one I'm the most knowledgeable on, it's always going to be Street Fighter.
Okay.
You know, so yeah, you know, and then let's see, what other? I also played like sports games like basketball. I was playing like NBA Live and stuff like that. back in the day. NBA Jam, dude. I played last East Coast Throwdown before COVID. Like we actually played an NBA Jam tournament, completely washed by like New York City's greatest freaking NBA Jam players from back in the day. Yeah, but like NBA Jam was the like bomb. I just like arcade style games, you know. Yeah, NBA Street I was pretty good at. Remember that game?
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah. I feel that because it's like for me, like gaming, it's either fighting games, platformer, or platformers. Those are like literally the only two games. I mean, I play a little Genshin now, but that's like I call it a brain dead game for me. I'm about to trigger a whole bunch of like Gen Zers, but it, you know, you can play it brain dead. You just kind of move around and just do whatever. You know, it's kind of nice.
Like, the homies always try to get me to play like shooters, and like I play like 5 minutes. I'm like, this is just not for me. Like I'm the guy that like if you're watching, you know, a match and like the guy just falls off the map like over there, like what's that guy doing? That's me. Like I literally fall off maps. Like I don't, even if there's nowhere to fall, I'll find a way to fall. Like my right thumb has no type of accuracy. Like if you told me to shoot like somewhere, like I'm shooting the opposite. Like it just I have no coordination with right thumb. Like I'm just straight up, yo, like I suck. I just suck, and I'm not even like gonna front. Like I just can't play shooters. Mighty JR actually brought up a good point. I do play shmups, like you know, like cave arcade games and like you know Japanese shooting games. Like I like that. I suck too, but I try to be good. You know.
Yeah.
Like Dodonpachi and like all that shit.
You gotta if you're gonna play some shooters, you gotta get on that WASD life, man. Just keyboard and mouse it. Your life will change. I played a little bit of Counter Strike.
Shooter?
Yeah, for like shooters, like for like Call of Duties. Yeah, because I played a lot of Counter Strike growing up at the what is it? What would you call it? Like internet cafes? Yeah, PC Bang. Yeah.
Well, I grew up with a lot of Koreans in my area, and that's what they call it. Yeah.
Yeah, we only called it IPC because there was only one in the neighborhood. That's what it was called. It was called Internet PC Cafe. So it was just like, oh, you're going to IPC? But I remember, like, for shooters, for me, if I team up, I'm the bait. I don't care. I just look up, like, walk forward, and just shoot the gun. And they're all looking for where the bullet is, and like, boom, you hear headshot. Shooters never clicked.
I think maybe I could do that. I could just be bait.
Yeah,
I suck. Like, I can't. I have no motor skills in that game. Like any of those games, no motor skills at all. Like I can't move. You know, if you told me to like run slide, like it's not happening.
Yeah, same.
I just suck.
I can feel that. Vibe. You know, but to go from something that we both suck at into something that I think, I don't know. So I, you know, did a little bit of deep dive on the Discord and stuff. So you I don't think you ever stopped being a skateboarder, but you're a skateboarder. So you skated a lot. Like, so how long, when did you start? Like,
so I started, maybe I was like 7 years old. So shout out to my brother Ryan. So my brother Ryan is he's still very much in the scene. He's like you know, he's on like Flow, we call it. It's like basically kind of sponsored. You just give you free shit from Burton Snowboard. So he was a pro snowboarder at one time, and we just grew up skating in the neighborhood. Back where I'm from in Jersey City, New Jersey, it's like, you know, I had legends around me. Like, you know, Cause, the you know, the graffiti writer and artist, Cause. Yeah, so Cause lived like down the block.
Nice.
So skating and graffiti and like Street Fighter even is kind of like one culture. It's like this little urban culture that we grew up. So skating, graffiti, it's like one to me. So I always skated. You know, I got pretty good too. And then also my brother used to work at this skateboard shop or skate shop. They used to sell inlines and other things too, called Surf and Turf in Hoboken, New Jersey. So you know, that wasn't far from us too. So we basically became skate rats. And then snowboarded very early. I'm talking about like you weren't even allowed to snowboard on the lift.
Yeah.
Days, you know, and like the skiers would get mad at you because you're carving their slopes, like you know. Anyway, so yeah, I'm like, I've been skating since I was little. I would say my height of skating was like probably when I was like in my like mid 20s. You know, like could land any trick I thought of. I was skating like all the parks in New York City. You know, not like good pro level, but I can hang. You know, it's like you know, if someone said do this, I wouldn't pussy out. You know, or said, you know, I just had the skill set to at least try.
That's sick.
You know? Since my brother was always in that scene, I was around some of the best skaters in New York City.
So like your Jeff Pangs, your Harold Hunters,
Jeff Pang, all
Rodney Torres. Who else? Who else can
like
I name drop from the
kids
East Coast?
that you see in that movie Kids.
Oh, like
Telly all those
and.
Guys. Like I actually skated with those guys. You know, it's kind of crazy.
That's awesome. RB Umali, the Zoo York guys.
I don't know those guys personally, but you know, I was just kind of around because my brother was so much into that fashion and skate scene. So you know, I was just a little runt that I would just come in and he'd take me to go raves and stuff like that. You know, because not only was it a rave, but there was a mini ramp in there, and they would, I don't know how I used to get in. I'd be like 13 in a fucking nightclub in New York, but yeah. But
Fullbot said Zoo York mixtape, abso-fucking-lutely. Yeah.
Oh, shout out to Fullbot too. Fullbot's a skater, and he's from like the Boston area.
Nice.
But he's a skater too, so.
Yeah, I mean, I remember like just I don't know what it was, but being from the West Coast where it was like Baker and jump downstairs and crazy shit. I remember watching like Zoo York mixtape, that Zared Bassett video, like PJ Ladd's Wonderful Horrible Life, and just like, oh my god, I don't have to jump down anything, because I was a fat kid. I'm still like a pretty big dude, but I just remember like watching Daewon Song and
Daewon's my favorite skater.
Yeah, Daewon Song, like Harold Hunter, Danny Supa, who's also Filipino. Yeah, Legends Never Die, Harold Hunter. And then from there, watching like a bunch of European videos and like really getting into watching Tom Penny. Like Tom Penny is hands down my favorite skateboarder. Like if I could meet Tom Penny, even in passing, my life would be a little bit more complete than it actually is right now. But like, what would you say your Pat Chinita was also a good watch? Yeah, hell yeah. What would you say was like your like specialty when you were skating? So, you know, there's like the high execution and the arcade stuff, but skateboarding is also super high execution, but with your body, you know.
What you mean, like what was like my trick?
No, like you know, like for me, I like skating a lot of ledges and manual pads and more like tech, you know.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, whereas my buddies jump downstairs.
Believe it or not, so I started skating in like two eras, right? So when I first started skating, it was like the launch ramp era. You know, like late '80s launch ramp. So. You know, I could do like fun, like newer skaters. Even when I skate, like every once in a while when I do skate, like if there's like a launch ramp, like skaters are like, yo, how do you do that shit? Because I can literally just like not even ollie and just fucking pop off a ramp and do like a backside 360, you know, and like melon.
Yeah, and all the early grab stuff.
You didn't even see me ollie. Yeah, the ramp stuff. So I started like that. Then we started getting really into street. So skating in New York, it's a lot of steps. I wasn't really a big rail guy, but ledges were really fun for me, like big curbs and like, you know, I used to love just like, you know, kickflip 5-0, you know, or like like kickflip 5-0 something, or you know, just like really fun stuff. And just street, just being able to do like tray flips and like stuff like that. Yeah, and then park we didn't really get, like when I stopped skating. The park things were like, wow, there's a skate park and I don't have to get in trouble skating. You know, that was like the beginning. I used to skate Chelsea Pier in New York City all the time. My brother would just always be there, so I would just be like, hey, you want to meet me at Chelsea? I'm like, bet, you know. And then I live in a town very close to where I live now that had a local skate park, and fortunately because my mom, I moved out but when the park was like getting popping, I moved out already. I was like an adult already. I used my mom's residence so I could still skate there because it was like clearly you had to be a resident.
Oh really?
Yeah, I was the old guy with all like the little dudes, but you know, so I learned how to skate transition from there too.
Nice.
Yeah, so I could skate like, you know, big quarter pipes. I could, you know, like 50-50 the rail. I could do like backside airs out of it. I could skate mini ramp. So I kind of got like an education in skateboarding just based on, you know, as the scene kind of grew. And then I just got old and all my friends stopped skating, and so the only time I get to skate is if my brother still skates, and he skates bowls, and I can't skate bowls. Like I can probably cruise around, but I can't skate it like he does.
Yeah, you can carve and stuff, but if you have that snowboard background, I mean, you know, the snowboard half pipe versus like a regular bowl is like half the size, so you gotta have a little bit of, I'd say you have to have a different set of nuts for that kind of shit. Yeah,
and you fall, like you crack your skull open, man. It's just concrete, dude. Like I bought my brother for Christmas because he never rocks a helmet, and he got rocked one time, and his wife is always with him. She like takes a lot of photos and stuff. And she told me he fell really bad and like he hit his head. like from like an 8-foot transition.
Mm-hmm.
That's not nice, man. I remember
No.
falling off like a transition, like a wood one, and smacking my head. I'm like, yo, I'm never not wearing a helmet anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you could die. So it's like I
Yeah.
bought him a ProTech helmet. He was like, I don't need this. I'm like, yeah, you do, bro. You're older than me. He's my older brother. Like, you're older than me. And you know, one day like your leg is not gonna be the same as it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, you gotta be careful. But
Yeah, I've
it's fun, man.
been like kind of what is it? Kind of standoffish about the whole helmet thing, just because there's a skate park down the street from my parents' house as well. And I think the bigger bowl is 10 feet high.
Oh,
And I never touch it. I don't even drop in. I'm like, F that. But the other one is like 6 feet, and I'm like, you know. And I've been fortunate enough to like not eat too much shit, and my transition game's not as terrible. It's just basically backside grind, front side grind, and that's it. Rock to fakie. Yeah, rock to fakie.
Yeah,
switch rock to fakie.
I mean,
tail
that's me
stall,
too.
and that's it. So I'm just
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm flowing. You know, maybe like a layback grind, little layback 5-0 from like the deep end to the shallow end, but that's literally about it. But every time I think to myself, I'm gonna skate the big bowl. Like, my wife just got a set of roller skates for Christmas, and she got a helmet and knee pads, and they fit me. So I'm like, I might have to put those motherfuckers to work trying to get this to
There's a
10
certain
foot.
level, like the gnarly level is a little,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like if like my gnarly level is like if the transition is like 2 feet taller than me, I'm gonna rock a helmet. And if it's concrete, I'm gonna rock a
Yeah.
helmet. Like street, I don't wear a helmet. you
Yeah,
know?
no.
Yeah. But more importantly, like the whole skateboard thing, I think if you're a skater, you kind of understand.
Mhm.
It's like being a skater like opens up all this extra stuff, like fashion.
Mhm.
You know, like I got into. I'm not really a fashion nerd, but like
Yeah.
my fashion sense comes from skateboarding.
Yep.
You know, like back then it was like we were the first dudes to wear baggy pants. You know, that was like shit early '90s.
Mhm.
Like, actually, like first dudes to wear baggy pants, and then the first dudes to switch it up to skinny pants.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and now it's coming back. So it's like this whole thing, and like sneakers became like, you know, even though like there was a hip hop culture, which, you know, I was also a part of,
Mhm.
but I always felt like my sneaker like tendencies always rolled towards a skater. Like I love SBs and stuff like that. I love
Mhm.
Vans. We were talking about Vans before.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not like a guy that wears Jordans. I'm like always gonna stay to my skater roots. I'd rather have a fresh pair of SBs than a pair of Jordans. You know,
Mm-hmm.
But, like, so not only that too, just like the creativity, because like skaters, like you have to be really creative to attack obstacles.
Yep.
And like I think that like mentality carried over from being a skater, because that was like my first real passion, like
Mhm.
skating. And then even like it links to Street Fighter. It's like, oh,
I
how
think
can
so,
you
too.
Yeah, and execution, even though it's
Mhm.
not like your legs, it's like your hands.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's all the same to me. That's why like when I said earlier, like this is like one big like culture for me, like skating, like
Mhm.
art, graffiti, like even hip hop to me is like it's just one. It's like one element to me.
Yeah, Jesse says a lot of music you'd learn from skate videos, and I would absolutely agree. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, with the age difference, you know, like or the generation difference, for me, it was growing up on like Mouse and like the girl video, the DC video. Yeah, right. So it was kind of it was a mhm. Yeah, it was
Oh,
like a mishmash of things, you know? And, you know, I remember, like, all of my friends were going through the tight pants phase as I was watching the DC video. So it was always funny to go skate with, like, my friends. They'd all be attacking rails, and I'd be like, oh, how do I shove it out of a front nose slide? Or how do I, like, string 18 tricks together? Like, for a fat kid, I had mad stamina, and I was smoking cigarettes. They're like, dude, why does it take forever to film you? I'm like, because I'm trying to put together a symphony. All you're doing is jumping down something, which in hindsight I'm like, that's gnarly and hard too. But yeah, I think like the only handrail I ever hit was in Japan, and it was like only about quarter thigh high, and it was on an elongated 4-stair where there was 0 impact. It was hardly a handrail, it was a flat bar. But that's kind of the nice thing, you know.
Shout out to the Patty in the check-in.
Mm-hmm.
Commander Jesse, what's up, man? I see you, bro.
Yeah, T-Mart as well. Good poison. Yeah. But,
Great.
you know, speaking of that whole culture, I mean, you know, Street Fighter, skateboarding, you're also DJing. I mean, you said you DJ'd in your 20s. Do you still DJ, like, weddings and, like, those sorts of events now? Or is it mostly for stream?
No, I've never DJ'd. Well, I DJ'd, like, house parties and stuff.
Mhm.
But, so this is another side of my life. A lot of people know me, like, beside the gaming things. People know me. The reason why my name is what my name is, I used to Tag Phrase. That was my graffiti name. And then I kind of transitioned. I got into hip hop, like super into hip hop, you know, like so man, I would say in high school, a lot of my buddies, like we were just those hip hop kids, and then I got into being a turntablist. So battle DJ. You ever see those DMC battles, ITF battles? You know, like I was that guy. Like, I would travel the whole coast, travel East Coast, West Coast. So I was never a party DJ or a wedding DJ. I would just battle motherfuckers, like, you know, like straight b-boy shit. You know, like real deal b-boy shit. And you know, I got to be one of the best in New York City at one point in time, like early 2000s, 2002 to 2004. It was me, my homie Boogie Blind, Executioner's crew, my homie Precision, Executioner's crew. We were always 1, 2, 3 at every battle from like 2000 to 2003. It's like no one was fucking with us. Like, you know, shout out to those guys. So, you know, that era was like where I learned how to really channel my competitiveness. Like I'm not like an aggressive guy, but like if you've seen me in those times battling, like you would think I was the biggest asshole, you know, because like my routines, I would go and find a way to diss you so hard, like I'd find your name on a record, you know, like after my routine, if you know, I would find your name and like and have like just do some funny ass stuff, make the crowd laugh and everything. I was just really like I channeled all my aggression towards the DJ battle scene. So, you know, a lot of people know me as like a turntablist, beat juggler, you know, scratching and all that stuff. I still have the setup till this day. A lot of hip hop artists like actually tap me to do cuts on their album, you know. So like Joel Ortiz, you may know Joel Ortiz. I did scratches on one of his past projects, you know. A lot of underground heads, and I got into into production from that too. I grew up with, not really grew up with, but I spent a lot of time during like my college years with producer Illmind. Have you ever heard of him? Illmind.
Sorry.
Yeah, he's a Filipino guy. Did you watch the Joe Coy special?
Yes, I did.
He went back to the Philippines. Okay, do you know the producer that was there, that was making all the music?
That was Illmind.
Yeah, that's Illmind. He's from Bloomfield, New Jersey. That's
Sick.
my homie. Like, yeah, that's the boy Junior. He produced like stuff for Drake. He produced stuff for like J. Cole. He produced J. Cole "Love Yours," which is like everyone's favorite song. You in the Six by Drake. Like, he's a Grammy-winning producer, and he's like, I grew up with this guy. Like, you know, we're like, we used to spend time digging records and everything like that. So I got really into beat making from him. And I kind of phased off a little bit. I do have some placements on a couple records here and there. But, you know, that whole DJ thing, again, it's just like all one piece, like hip-hop, creativity, you know. And meanwhile, you know, this whole time I'm still playing Street Fighter in the background. You know, like as my
Street Fighter, building your business, working at the Apple Store, you know, climbing the corporate ranks. You know, speaking...
Yeah, rest in peace, Raider, serious, yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, speaking of, I mean, so how do you balance it now? I mean, you must be the cool dad. Like, you know, you got like, I see the cabinets in the back. Like, you got the two, your two, was it daughters, I believe?
Yeah, I have
right?
2 daughters.
You know,
they're not really into what I'm into though.
Okay.
Yeah, they're like, maybe my older one kind of has a small affinity to it, especially like on the music end. But like, they're not really like, they don't come down here and be like, hey, can we play games? Like, you know, like they'll play every once in a while and just mash buttons and have fun. But it's like, you know, maybe once a week, tops. You know.
So how's career day go? If you ever have those, how's career day go with, you know, what you're doing? Well, if they ever ask.
School hasn't been school.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, so yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm definitely the oddball. Like when I used to go pick up my kids, at least the last year, you know, because everyone's in a suit and shit, and I'm wearing my own fucking t-shirts. You know, so it's like, but then again, it's like, you know, I roll up with a pretty nice car, and they're just like, how the fuck does this guy like dresses like that have that car? You know what I'm saying? So it's like a total mindfuck for them.
Yeah.
I guess I like that aspect of things. It's like, oh shit, like, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess it depends how people see it, you know. But society's stupid, and you shouldn't have to like, you know, judge people by the way that they look to see if they're successful or not.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you 100%. I mean, not a dig, but I do work for Japanese people, so I find myself struggling with that myself with all this and the whole shebang. But yeah, I mean, how do you call it? So DJ battling. I mean, I get what haven't you done? It sounds like you've done a whole lot, and it's nuts and it's crazy to hear.
I mean, I guess, yeah, I've done a lot. You know, I've definitely done a lot of things in my life. I'm pretty content with everything I've done. Like, if I were to die tomorrow, I think I'd had a pretty solid life, you know?
Yeah. And the one thing that does interest me is those two cabinets behind you. Did you build them yourself or did you import them from Japan? Huh?
These are imported.
How tough was that?
It's not, I mean, you just have to be persistent. So if you guys, I'll try to move the camera. So yeah, I have two Chulixes. They're not authentic Velixes, they're Chinese clones.
Chulix?
Yeah. But to be honest, I preferred getting the Chulixes because they're easier to mod. So I replaced the screens with like 1 millisecond screens because like the ones in playing on an arcade cab is kind of like, especially on a Velix, isn't as good as playing on your like monitor. You know, there's a lot of lag. So I made it. I gutted everything basically, just used a shell, and you can't really do that with a normal Velix. It's like a big pain in the ass. So that's why I got these particular ones, and they're cheaper. But I had to use an importer that imports stuff to Ohio, then so that cost a ton, and then I had to go get that and then ship it to New Jersey. So yeah, it was not cheap, but I just always wanted, this is like one of the things I always wanted. So it's like, you know, what's that, like bucket list thing? So like bucket list thing to own. I only wanted one. Then I realized that if I'm going to be paying all this for shipping, it's the same price to get one shipped to me. I might as well get two and then have a head-to-head setup, and that's what I did.
Because at that point, you're paying for the volume, not so much the actual weight. You're paying for the space that the damn crate is taking up.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It was like a $100 difference to get two. You know, I mean, two shipped versus, you know, one, and then think about it and get one later and then have to pay another $500 to get it shipped. It was nuts. But yeah, it's not like something that most gamers should do. But if you know, like right now, I have a PlayStation 4 in it. I have like a Raspberry Pi running Retro on it. I have like my PS3 and Xbox 360 in there. So it's like I can play my shmups. I can play my old fighting games. I can play like Nintendo. You know, it's like it's just an all-in-one cool thing to have. You know, and then when COVID starts, you know, letting down, I can actually invite people back in the crib, like all the homies and like some of the guys in the Discord. You know, we're actually like real friends. That's just going to be the most amazing thing. I bought it for that moment in COVID, you know. So
yeah, no, I get it, man. It's yeah, this COVID thing's been a little bit tough, you know, on everyone. But you know, did you do a lot of traveling for tournaments before that? Like, did you go to your Evos and like you said, East Coast Throwdown and stuff like that?
I'm always in the New York locals. And me and Clev, from my partner in crime from JXK, we always set up shop at East Coast Throwdown. We always have a booth, and we're one of the like best booths. And I'm not even like talking shit, but like we just bring the hype. Like everyone's at our table. I always have like a nice like setup. I bring like a faux arcade, so like all the pros are hanging out with us, and like and there's always a line of Player Pro at our table, and we're selling our art, we're selling our fight sticks, so we're like we were a mainstay at East Coast Throwdown. We've been there for the last 5 years, I want to say.
Nice.
The last year didn't happen, but like we just always were there, and it's just amazing, man. Like we miss it so much. I can't wait to just be out there. Like I would play in tournaments too, but since we've been getting into more of like the business aspect of things, like I just don't even enter the tournament. I just we just hang out at the booth the whole time and kick it and play casuals and stuff. But yeah, I really miss it. I went to Evo 2017. I never made it to Combo Breaker or CEO. Those are kind of like our next stops when things get popping. Yeah, and then we have a local. Shout out to Kaiser, actually. He's in the chat right now. So the boy Kaiser, I met him through our local. We used to have something called Master Instinct. So yeah, it's really fun.
Nice. Yeah, I definitely want to make it out to the East Coast and make it kind of like a dual purpose. So like take my wife with me, and then like we could do adult shit and then like
Yeah.
go play and press buttons, you know.
Yeah, go kick it in New York, get some bomb ass food.
Yeah.
You know, do the New York thing, and then you know.
I miss it. I miss like human interaction with people other than my wife. No offense to her, but you know, you get a little stir crazy when you're inside, you know. But luckily we have this stream thing going. I get to meet, you know, wonderful people like you, Kriya Johnny. But you know, this is a question that I always ask everybody. So you know, throughout this whole FGC thing, you do own your own business. You're making your own fight sticks. But did you ever have like a dream sponsor for like FGC stuff?
See, I don't really. I'm kind of like navigating what I want to do. Like now this is a career.
Yeah.
So, I think that I'm thinking about maybe navigating more towards like not really. I guess the term is influencer nowadays. Like it would be really nice for like, you know, like arcade stick companies, maybe like Hori or like Quamba or wherever, you know, to reach out and be like, hey, like here's a new product, like tell us what you think, you know, and then do the whole YouTube shebang, you know, Twitch thing. Maybe that's something. Because like, just like you know, if you work for somebody, you can't explore. So I still want to remain free. You know, like just say I work for this company and like, oh, I can't explore the other products because I work for this company and there's some sort of like arrangement for that. I don't want to get locked into that, but that would be kind of cool, you know. Also with like the sponsorships, like people are like, oh, why don't you try to get sponsored for like content creation? I'm like, well, first of all, we're our own company, you know, like we have our own gear and stuff like that. Like I should be maybe my goal is maybe to be the sponsorer. You know, like I did attempt that actually. It kind of went sour.
Oh, okay.
For like bad reasons. For I don't know. I'll just be honest with you guys. So I sponsored Zero Blast last year. You guys go and see. Shout out to Zero Blast first of all. You know, Zero's super cool and
no, they're awesome. They're an awesome person. I mean, they made some mistakes and stuff. I actually, go ahead. Sorry.
Exactly. You know, like Zero made some mistakes. I personally don't think it was intentional or to hurt anybody, but what happened, and it kind of tarnished that relationship as far as the sponsorship go. So I built Zero's stick. You know, Zero still uses it till this day on the stream. It's pretty awesome. I mean, I'm still very proud of the work we did with Zero, but unfortunately, from a company standpoint, it's like Focus Attack, who also partners with me for the B&B, wanted a distance. You know, from that particular like relationship. It also didn't help that the owner of Focus Attack is a black owner. So, you know, that had to be severed. So we couldn't kind of continue. But then COVID happened and I couldn't really do it again.
Yeah.
I do have a couple people I'm looking at to do it. And back to being a skate thing, right?
Flow.
Yeah. No, that's exactly it.
Flow team.
So a lot of players. I'm sorry. A lot of people like in the FGC, like there's no like tiers of sponsorships. There's only like this type of sponsor. You get flown out, and you know I pay for everything. I'm not there yet. I can't pay fucking players to go fly to every tournament. I just don't got it like that. But what I can do is like just say if you're on Flow, if you guys know the skateboarding term, you're like the amateur skaters, or maybe like there's like a tier. There's like you're on Flow, meaning
Flow,
free gear,
amateur, pro,
legend.
legend. Now,
right? Yeah.
Especially
so,
now.
I'm trying to establish with JXK, because you know we have the merch, you know we have the sticks, you know like that flow level. So I could be like, okay, cool. Here's your stick for the year, right? We'll make you some merch for your stream, right? And you could go ahead and sell it. You know, you get a cut of that, whatever. And maybe I'll pay for like maybe one or two local tournaments, you know, entry fees and stuff like that. But you know that established level of like sponsorship, that's where I'm trying to go as like phase one. But COVID.
Yeah.
So,
and that makes sense, dude. The skateboarding model, like I don't understand why companies, including my own, don't do this.
Yeah.
すいません、ごめん. My own don't, you know, establish that same thing. Because like I remember like I used to work at a skate shop called South Bay Skates here. It's like the owner used to know Mike Smith, the dude who, or not used to know, he still knows Mike Smith, the dude who invented the Smith grind, and like Howard Hood and Eric Dressen, and like all those dudes would always be there. And like I wasn't that great, but I'd get flowed boards because I was just there, and I was like, oh my god, this is like the best feeling because I didn't have to pay for it, you know? Like I think a lot of like this younger generation is just so enthralled with like the title of like I am a sponsored player, or I am getting paid to do it, when in reality it's like, dude, you know, a lot of the stuff for even pro skaters, it comes out of their own pocket. You know, a lot of like these pros that travel, it comes out of their own pocket too. All they have is the, you know, the affiliation, you know.
Right.
You know, to kind of circle back to Zero Blast, I mean, I remember when that whole thing happened, I threw this little kind of like a 16-man bracket tournament called the Con Clash, and I remember that whole thing happened, and like there are a few people who blocked me on Twitter. Some complained about like, oh, like don't take this man's money, like you're trash if you play in his tourney or whatever. But it ended up being good, and Zero Blast made it to the final and like teabagged and taunted, and it was the most entertaining. Like we ran it at my parents' house because they have a really nice living room that turned into our commentary set. And even my parents were like, oh my gosh, because they played a little bit of Street Fighter 2 at the Gesen, the game center in like Akihabara or Yokohama or whatever. And they're like, oh, sugoi, like, oh, so great, you know? But, you know, speaking of running the tournaments and stuff, Rival Fools, tell me, like, how hard is, like, I knew, like, doing one event was hard, let alone the last one I unfortunately missed was, what, 13? Rival Fools 13, was it?
10.
10? Sorry. I added extra.
Yeah. So, what do you want to know? Just like
how tough is it to... Because mine, it was all, like, I pre-selected 16 people, so I knew what the runtime was going to be, and I was, but, like, with an open bracket, I mean... How do you not hurt someone's feelings when they're like, oh, get me on stream, but like,
you just got to be cutthroat. I mean, I hate to say it, like, the one struggle when we run our tournaments is like no one follows instructions. Right? No one ever follows instructions, but you have to understand that no one's gonna follow instructions. So then, you know, it's your job to kind of like guide everybody. Like, the first couple ones were really hard to run, and I need a team. Like, if Miss Patty's in here, shout out to Miss Patty. She's been helping out on like commentary. So I need minimal like 4 people to help me. You know, it's very hard. So you need someone in the bracket, just in the chat. You know, maintaining the bracket, making sure they're following instructions. And you need maybe 2 of those people, and you have to have a commentary team. You know, you're streaming. You know, it's like running the stream and making sure like the scores, if you're doing a scoreboard, like things like that. There's a lot of a lot of things to kind of worry about. Ludovic actually just ran his first tournament, and like he was losing it. Like, for me and him, first hour were like, oh my god, because it was like a gold to platinum. So these guys like don't really compete that often. So like no one knew what they were doing in the chat. It's just a lot to deal with, you know, like hey guys, make sure your CFN's match because we can't find you if your CFN isn't what your Discord name is, things like that.
Yeah,
it's very troublesome. We started Rival Fools just based out of necessity to kind of keep the culture going, I guess.
Yeah,
because we were afraid that like, yeah, there's gonna be maybe big, like Capcom's gonna throw Capcom Cup, you know, like whether it's digital or not, or like, but like that local thing was gonna get lost. So Rival Fools was kind of born out of that, and I really wanted it to be a local. So when COVID kind of shut everything down, we pivoted to trying it online. I'm kind of glad that happened because I learned a lot of logistics, you know, of just running the tournament. So like when there's a local, I think I'm going to be really ready. And the only thing that I have to worry about is actual physical logistics to like get setups and like, you know, venue and stuff like that. But I already kind of have that dialed in. And even I've gotten to the point where people are actually offering now because they see what we're doing. So it's kind of cool.
That's great.
Yeah, the other thing too is I'm not doing it weekly like all these other guys are, because I feel like I'm just gonna burn myself out if I do it weekly. And a monthly, even it's still stressful monthly, but it seems like the right, you know, flow. Yeah. And I could tell it's working because our entrants have been getting higher and higher. We started off at like 28 players, then it became like 30 and change, and it became like 40. The last one we had like, actually two events ago, we had 82 players. Last one was like high 70s. You know, it's like, and our prize pot just kept going higher and higher. There was one that was like $1,100 prize pot. That's awesome. Like more than a major sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, that's kind of crazy. Like, and we got it to that level.
That's great money, split 8 ways.
Yeah. No, like there's like a hype that gets built up. Oh, there's another rival pools. These guys are known for this. Maybe their prize pools are going to be bigger than the weekly. So they're like, then we get more high profile players to join because they see the prize pools and stuff like that.
That's awesome. That's so great. I mean, yeah, I did the one and I was like, I think I can only do this maybe once every 6 months or something.
It's hard, man. Yeah. And like, if, you know, some of the guys in the chat, like if Patty's in the chat, like she knows, like she ran events,
mm-hmm.
and like she'll tell me, she'll like hit me up on the DM and be like, hey, are you okay? You sound stressed. I'm like, yeah, it's fucking like, it's nuts. You know, it's like insane right now. You know, it's like,
mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a tough thing. I didn't even like intend to be a TO, and I just ended up being a TO because, you know, of the whole rival fools thing. But shout out to the whole crew, man. Clev and Regicide and Guns Ablaze. He's actually from SoCal.
Yeah. I think I've seen him around. I don't like, stupid cord. I may like, I feel like I've met him, but I can't put my finger on his face because I only see his name.
He runs all like the big events or like Level Up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's.
I have to have seen him. Maybe I haven't like met him in person, or I've met him in person and we just like, it was just all crazy because I used to go to like WNF Wednesday night fights like every freaking week. Like my wife I'd just be like, babe, it's Wednesday. See you later. And I'd be out till like 3 getting tacos with Commander Jesse after, and just I miss that vibe, you know. But hopefully we'll be able to you know, replicate that. So when is the next Rival Fools? Since we're talking about it, when's Rival Fools 11?
So this is tentative, guys. So no promises, and I haven't put it out there yet.
Or a range. Sorry. I'm
thinking March 20.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm thinking March 20. It just kind of lines up where I need to be. I got to figure out if my whole crew can make it, and then
mm-hmm.
that's first logistics.
Yep.
And then we got to do like, I don't know if you know, but every one we do custom art for it.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's like a brand new poster. The last one, I love it so much. It's like, you know, the Valentine's Day thing.
Yeah.
You see it?
I saw it. Yeah. So sick.
Yeah. So, yeah, shout out to Clev, man.
Yeah. And I like it. And I might go on a bit of a rant here, but it reminds me of like back when, like, I watched a lot of MMA, a lot of Japanese MMA when I was growing up. It reminds me of Pride a little bit, you know, where there was like every like maybe 2 or 3 months, they treated each event as its, even though it was like labeled Pride Fighting Championships, everyone had its own central theme with different like theme songs and theme music. It's just, I'm getting those like, those vibes, you know, where it's like, it's a special event. Like weeklies are great for learning stuff and whatever else, but the way that I see you running it, it's like, boom, Rival Fools. It's like its own, it's like watching UFC 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you know, it's like its own numbered event. It's so sick.
And, you know, we branded it very specifically. Like, the artwork is, like, fun. It's, like, comic book style, you know, loud. If you notice, there's always hip-hop music playing in the background.
Yep.
Like, I only play, like, just dope instrumentals, you know? So the game music's out of there. So what we want to do for the local, like, once we actually get, like, the availability to do this, like, and Miss Patty's going to help out, is, like, we actually want to make, like, an event where it's a fighting game tournament, you know, that's like the main thing, but it's more of a cultural event. So even if you don't play, you can bring your lady. Like, we even want to make it where like you got to dress up, like you got to wear like something nice, you know, like impress everybody, you know, like wear like a suit jacket, something fun, like, you know, dress up, not like black tie, but like look nice, you know, like fashionable. Your lady can come
club attire.
Yeah, I actually have a local brewery that's gonna host my first event as soon as it gets safe. So at a beer garden, like really dope event. Also like a built-in art show, so I can tell like 3 or 4 artists in the area to like come and bring your work, and we'll set up tables for them for people of them that kind of like, I don't know what they want to do. If they want to sell stuff or, you know, so it's like an art show, like a cultural event.
Yeah.
And also obviously for me, music's a big part of it. You know, all my boys are like DJs and stuff like that, so I could just tap. Actually, one of my boys that works there at the venue, is actually a DJ too. So it's like we can't wait to actually do this. So like that's the whole vibe of for Rival Fools. It's like it's not just like Street Fighter tournament. It's like, you know, and this can apply to any game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's basically our idea for it. You know, just having a really fun and like social event, and then where everyone can kind of just vibe. And I don't want it to be a nerd fest either. Like I want your lady to be able to come, or vice versa. You know, like someone that's not into fighting games can just be like, yo, this is sick. Like what are these guys doing? And then like they get into it. You know.
Honestly, more people need to think that way. Yeah. For real, more people need to think that way. Because if you ever been to like a skating trade show, it's just built for skaters. You know, if you've been to like Evo, it's like I see like all the significant others look fucking miserable. All the girlfriends look so fucking miserable until there's the Red Bull party, and then they're like, oh, while it out, you know, like.
Because like my wife isn't really into what I'm into. You know, like and. It's cool. I'm like, it's perfectly fine, but I want to be able to cater to a person like that, where like their significant other is really into something, but then, you know, I'm not saying like this is gonna be a vacuum for them to join, but they could be like looking forward to it. Oh, cool, yeah, I'll go hang out, man. I'll go have a beer. Cool. And you know, their significant other, like your friend's significant other, they're gonna be there too. And there's like people they could vibe with and like make fun of us. It could be make fun of us, but at the end of the day, they're still there vibing. You know.
Yeah.
Instead of like, oh, nerd thing. Count me out.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and I think there are a lot of like similarities and correlations with like regular pop culture and Street Fighter. I mean, why not marry the two? It's yeah, I get it though. Like, oh, nerd alert. Like, nah, we ain't nerds. Like, look at you. You own your own business. You're successful. Like, and you mash buttons and play Street Fighter. It's like, for all of you who think we're just like sitting here fat Cheetos eating Mountain Dew, y'all can suck a dick for all I'm concerned. But hey, that's just me. I'm probably gonna have to censor that part for the YouTube. But you know, every podcast, what I like to do is with Patty, I did Never Have I Ever. With King Rex, I did the quick round. So being that we share the same roots culturally,
okay,
I have this is a section I would like to call, it's like some gnarly foods that, you know, Filipino foods that maybe not a lot of people would try. So I'm gonna call this oo or no. Because you know, means yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, because these are all foods that I like, so I just want to see if we vibe the same way. So, Walkman.
Walkman? Ano yan? I don't know that.
The fried, it's like the grilled pig's ear.
Oh! Yeah, I like that.
Oh, alright. Dinuguan.
No, hindi.
No, okay.
No.
Pinakbet.
I like it.
Alright.
Yeah.
I always have trouble pronouncing this one. Binogoagan. No. No? Oh, wow. No. Papaitan.
What's that? I don't know what that is.
It's like the stew with the goat's intestine and bile. It's like super bitter.
Probably not.
Okay, yeah.
No, yeah.
Lechon bulaklak.
Of course.
Okay, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Balut.
I could fuck with balut.
All right.
Yeah, it's not like I won't go buy it, but if you know one of my kuyas has it, you know, they'd be like, you want one? I'm like, all right, fuck it, let's do it. Yeah.
Kari kari.
Yes, my favorite.
All right, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And then last one, isao.
What's that again? Is that soup?
It's the isao is it's the long intestine of the pig grilled.
Yeah, I do. I've eaten that before.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah,
for sure. And for those of you who don't know, so Walkman, let me explain it. So they're like, oh, what's all this shit that he's saying? So,
actually, wait. You guys got to Google it first, and then we'll explain.
Google balut.
Get a picture of it, and then you're gonna be like, what the hell?
Yeah. So I fuck with Walkman. Actually, all of that is food that I fuck with. I eat it all. I love it all. Like, it's like the only one that's a little bit on the gnarly side for me is papaitan, and it's like maybe I'll eat it once every 2 years if I like feel like it. But it's bitter. It's like getting punched in the mouth from the inside.
Right.
Yeah. But do you cook Filipino food at home?
Not really. My wife cooks it a little bit more than I do.
Okay.
My mother-in-law is like she makes like really good like homemade Filipino food.
Nice.
So we get enough Filipino food from that, but like it's like I like it, but if you eat a lot of Filipino food, it's not really great for you.
Oh no, it's
like,
terrible for you.
Yeah, it's a lot of sodium and you know. Yeah, I do cook a lot though. I'm a pretty good cook, I would say.
Nice.
So, but I cook like I cook like a lot with Asian influence, and then
Mm-hmm.
I have like the Italian side where I can make like Italian dishes.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's cooking is like fun as hell to me. It's just like
Yeah.
doing anything else I do.
Same here.
You know?
Same here. I love the face of like, you make something and like they're enjoying it. It's like the best. And speaking of greasy Filipino food, I grew up with my parents. They both have high blood pressure, but they learned how to make all of those foods with half the grease. So whenever I make Filipino food for Filipino people, they're like, "No, this tastes Japanese." I'm like, "Yeah, because my Japanese mom learned how to make it for people with high blood pressure. So shut up and eat it, and don't get high blood pressure, guys."
Right. No, I mean I think it's important.
Mm-hmm.
I think even like my parents-in-law, they're like we had to tell her like you have to cut the salt. Like it's so salty. And that's like normal. Like the normal Filipino level, but
Yeah.
we've all got accustomed to like lowering sodium and stuff.
Yeah.
And we had to tell her like you have to cut the salt. Like it's like not good. It's not good for you. We're younger. It's not good for you. Like you need to stop doing that.
Yeah, and it's like they probably use the magical bag with the M, the S, and the G, not Madison Square Garden.
Patty's saying messy. Yeah, I love Peruvian food. I love Thai food. Indian food. I love. I recently had food from Nepal. Oh man, so good, dude. Yeah, Korean food. I love Japanese food's up there. Like yeah. I mean, I love food, man.
Food's great. Food's so amazing, dude. All my buddies that are like, I have some buddies who are like very much into their fitness and their six packs and whatever else. They're like, "Hey man, why aren't you like, like you're putting up numbers in the weight room, but why aren't like you're not looking different?" I'm like, dude, because I like to eat. The only reason why I work out and lift as heavy as I do is so I can eat whatever the fuck I want and like maintain my waist size and maintain my blood pressure. That's the only reason why I do exercise and eat the way I do.
It's really hard for me to cut back on like good. I just can't. It's hard, Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up in a rice everyday house. I'm sure it was fairly similar for you too.
Yeah, I eat rice like every meal.
Yeah, every meal.
And even like when I'm eating non-Asian cuisine, I still eat rice. Like Peruvian food. Well, if it is kind of Asian.
Yeah.
Actually, but like Colombian food, fucking like man. Like in my area here, there's a lot of I grew up with a lot of Latino influence. Like in the areas I've lived in, has always been like a lot of Latinos. Like all my friends, I think I actually just thought about this. Like all my like friends, I would say like a good like 75% of them are like Latino, like some sort of Latino. I don't know why I gravitate towards it. If they're not Filipino, like yeah, I don't know why. I think the cultures are very similar.
Yeah, Latino is like Filipino is like Spanish adjacent for sure. Just based on I mean, shit. Our country is named after King Philip of Spain, so
Yeah. I have friends from like all types of backgrounds, but like I don't know what it is. Like I tend to become better friends with people with like Latinos, and like I don't know why. It's just a thing.
Yeah. Well, before we end the day, do you have any shout outs? Tell us what you're doing. Tell us where we can find you, even though I'm sure everyone is an avid follower. But for when I post this on YouTube and people can find it, tell us where we can find you and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, sure. So I purposely just made all my social media the same in Twitch. So it's just at JonyFraze, JonyFraze. So follow me and whatever you want on there. Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram. Instagram is probably like my biggest. If you guys want to see what I'm up to, Instagram is probably the first stop you should go. Twitter for me isn't like a big thing. I just feel like, you have to kind of censor yourself a little bit on Twitter, because then you might it's like I don't know, you just get blown up on Twitter for no dumb reason.
Yeah.
So I'm like a little bit cautious. I'm more like Twitter's more like info, like hey guys, I'm running a tournament, type thing. Yeah, MySpace.
Hey dude, let's bring it back. I miss having a top 8.
Matt, that was my MySpace. I deleted my MySpace, but yeah. It was JonyFraze. And also, please follow more important, forget about me. Follow JXK Designs. JXK Designs on Instagram, Twitter, and also follow my boy Clev. That's like everything that I've been doing, like I can't even fathom like even accomplishing more like any of this stuff without Clev. So Clev's like my creative partner. He's basically the guy that actually is in charge of most of the visuals that we do. I'm a graphic designer, but I'm basically like the way I like to explain it to everybody is that like Clev is the MC and I'm the producer. I'm always gonna be that role, like the beat maker and he's the MC type thing, you know. Clev's is like his work is like the reason we have a brand, you know. Like this shirt is like he draws everything.
I love that shirt. I'm picking that shit up right after this. I'm picking that shit up right after
You
this.
bought the poster, right?
Huh?
You bought the poster? I forgot.
No, I bought. I think I bought a sticker, the Vega one with the Chun.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, JXK. That's the crew. I just want to make sure you guys know that's like, you know, it's not just me. It's the JXK crew. Everyone in that Discord is like literally we became friends. It's like the craziest thing. You know, it's not. I didn't even start that Discord. It was my buddy made it for us to chat, and then he's just like, "Dude, you're bringing in so many people, man. Like, you should just have the control over it." I'm like, "Okay," and I just learned how to use Discord. So it's like, shout out to the whole crew. Yeah,
I'm feeling the same. I love it, man. It's like you, King Rex, Pat. I'm like we're like rebuilding a digital railroad from east to west. You know, so
it's really cool.
Yeah.
You know, it's actually unintentional. It's just like good vibes. You know, like. I got to vibe really good with Patty because like you know, I don't know, we just kind of have like a vibe, like I understand her, and like I understand her like her like, you know, what how she wants to present herself, you know, and like I did her stream overlay, right? So
no, it looks great. I love that. It's just like
so
it reminds me of Vogue. It's Patty. It's like it's Vogue. It's Madonna. It's like, and I mean that in like the, you know, like Vogue Madonna. Like that's like one of the best Madonna songs. For all I'm concerned, Vogue.
Her stream is like, it's like luxurious when you're there, right? You feel like a nice like store, like buying something cool.
Yeah,
that's the vibe. I just got, because like if you ever see her Instagram, you know, that's kind of like
it's Vogue. It's Vogue. Yeah. It's literally so cool. She is like Vogue, the song personified.
Well, you know, that's also what I'm up to. So you can catch me like if I'm not streaming, I'm usually streaming like my work. So the whole Twitch thing kind of became like an avenue to show people what I'm up to. And I also play games. Obviously, you guys know I'm a Chun main in Street Fighter 5. I will be playing a ton of freaking Guilty Gear. That game is so godlike. Holy crap! We've played like all morning. It was incredible. But yeah. So like graphic design. You can catch me doing that stuff. I'm always doing fight stick commission artwork for people. I do want to dispel something. People think that I like build custom sticks for people like all the time, and that's like my main thing. I don't. Like we make the B&B case and we make the Espada case for you to build it your damn self. But when you're seeing me do a build, it's because yes, I did get commission, and it's also almost only local. You know, like because I can physically like drop it off, or they can pick it up, because it's really expensive. Like it's not like I don't want to do it all the time, but it's a turnoff to say, yo, this stick is going to cost you $50 to ship it from here to there. You know, and it's like, oh, I'm already paying this much for it, then I have to pay another $50. It's like a lot. That's why I don't really offer like full blast commissions unless it's like, here's what you're gonna get into, okay, and if you're okay with that, I'll do it. But I really design stuff so you guys can do it yourself and enable yourself to get into the culture and be creative. So
like you said, make a sandwich. I mean, it's as easy as that. I've been parting mine out, and I gotta ask the head of the Kagiwada Zaibatsu, the Kagiwada Foundation, aka my wife, to when we could pick one of those up, because we are saving and stuff like that. And there's also the new release of like the other stick that my company is making, so I'm just like, oh my god, I need to find room for all this shit. I need to like I saw your collection too. I saw that fighting edge that's in the middle, and the TE2 and the view. How many view do you have? All the Vulixes? I think I counted 4. Yeah, the VLX.
Well, I have 4. I think there's only 4.
I think there's only 4. Yeah.
Yeah. So unless there's like some random like limited one that came out, I have the red one, I have the black one, I have the red and black one, and I have the diamond.
Yeah, and you have the white PS3 fighting edge. I'm mad jealous. Super jealous.
I just got that from Markman.
Yeah.
So funny story is that like Markman is selling his collection. If you guys are into fight sticks, go follow Markman. If you guys don't know who Markman is, he's the guy that's responsible for like the renaissance of like the modern fight sticks with Mad Cats.
Yep.
No longer there, but go follow him. And he also runs Evo. Like
Markman 23. I think is the Twitter.
All the homie Markman. But like I saw he was posting everything. I was like, yo. I DM'd him. I'm like, yo, Markman, please tell me you have a white fighting edge. And he's like, I do. I didn't post it yet. I'm like, name your price. And he's like, well, he's like, these are kind of rare. I'm like, I know, name your price. And he's like, this much. I'm like, what's your PayPal? And I just sent it to him. So he never even got to post this stick on that thread. And I robbed everybody from it. So I don't care.
No, who cares, dude? That's the cleanest stick.
Yeah.
It's the
I've been
cleanest
looking
stick.
for it forever. Yeah.
That's so awesome. Well, I hope to get there one day, but you know, we go step by step. JonyFraze, Johnny, Kuya Johnny, thank you so much. Maraming salamat po, kapatid ko. Thank you so much. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning into the channel. Everybody, Miss Patty, Ari, Mighty JR Gaming, Phobot, thank you so much for the follow. I think we got the homie Night Swolair streaming, so we're going to send you over that way. I'm trying to figure out. Absolutely, man. You know what I want to do before I send over everyone to the raid and make sure that I spell things correctly, because the last time I did Patty, I spelled her name wrong and Stack called me out.
Oh no.
But then I changed it. But you know, I'd like to get everyone like up to maybe like 4 people and like do a round table this style, and we just talk shit. I think we should do that. That's 4 if you include me. So I'll set up a date where you, Rexy, and Patty, we could all just come in and shoot the shit and talk about whatever is going on in the FGC or life, or you know, things that are fun. So yeah, I thank you so much. Again, maraming salamat po, kuya. Thank you so much. We'll have the VOD up on Twitch for as long as Twitch leaves it, and we'll also have the VOD up on YouTube. Search Michael Kagiwada. I still haven't quite branded everything together, but yeah, thanks so much. On that note, peace out. Have a safe Saturday. Have a great weekend, y'all.
Peace.